Why is it that those called to a higher purpose often find themselves fighting some of the hardest battles? With lust, it's a struggle that many people hesitate to discuss, yet it's far more common than we might realize. And the reasons behind it? Well, they're actually more surprising than you might think. If you find yourself feeling overwhelmed by this quiet internal battle, I want you to know you are not alone. In fact, there is a biblical explanation for why those who are called to greatness often face such intense temptations. Let's uncover the truth behind this hidden struggle. Throughout the Bible, we see that even some of the most anointed individuals had to deal with powerful temptations. Take King David, for example, a man after God's own heart. He was deeply loved by God, yet he still fell into the trap of lust when he took Bathsheba. Or consider Samson, whose immense strength and God-given calling were overshadowed by his weakness for Delilah. Both of these men were called to extraordinary purposes, yet they stumbled in the area of lust. But why does this happen? Why is lust so often a battle for those set apart for greatness? The answer goes beyond human weakness. This is not just about the struggles we face as humans. It's a spiritual battle. The enemy knows exactly who to target. He is always looking to weaken those with a powerful calling. The Bible makes it clear, spiritual warfare is real, and it targets our weaknesses. So when you face these temptations, remember, it's not just about you. It's a part of the larger battle for your purpose. But the good news is, you don't have to fight alone. With God's strength, we can overcome even the hardest struggles. Ephesians 6:12 reminds us, "For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places." Lust is not just a physical temptation, it's a spiritual attack. The enemy understands that if he can corrupt the purity of someone called by God, he can disrupt their divine purpose. Those chosen for a higher calling are often targeted because their lives have the potential to bring about great impact for God's kingdom. When lust enters, it doesn't just affect one's body, it targets their spirit, their mind, and their mission. The struggle feels so intense because it's not just about personal failure, it's about a larger spiritual battle. The enemy wants to derail your calling, but God's grace is stronger and more than able to help you stand firm. Here are 5 shocking reasons. Number 1, spiritual sensitivity makes temptation stronger. When you are spiritually gifted, it means you're often more attuned to God's presence and His voice. But this heightened awareness also means you become more aware of the enemy's tactics. The enemy knows that those with divine callings are powerful tools for advancing God's kingdom. So he seeks to distract and weaken them, and lust? It's one of his most effective weapons, designed to derail, distract, and confuse. Those who are called to a higher purpose often face more intense temptations, because the enemy understands that if he can trap them in lust, he can slow down, or even completely stop, their spiritual growth. It's not just a personal struggle, it's a spiritual battle aimed at hindering the fulfillment of their God-given purpose. The greater the calling, the stronger the attack. Number 2, isolation leads to hidden battles. Those who are chosen for a higher purpose often walk a path that sets them apart from others. While this solitude can be a blessing, it also creates a dangerous vulnerability. When you're set apart, there can be fewer people who truly understand what you're going through, making it harder to share your struggles. Without strong accountability or deep spiritual connections, battles like lust can become hidden, private wars. The secrecy surrounding these struggles makes it even harder to overcome. It feeds shame and self-doubt. Many chosen ones suffer in silence, believing they have to fight alone. But God never intended for us to go through these battles without support. When we isolate ourselves, the enemy gains ground. But when we open up to trusted individuals in the faith, we find the strength and accountability needed to overcome. Number 3, high calling attracts greater attacks. The higher the calling, the greater the spiritual warfare. Lust is not just a natural human struggle, it's a direct spiritual attack, aimed at keeping those with a divine purpose distracted, drained, and distanced from God. The enemy knows that the more significant the calling, the more power it holds to advance God's kingdom. Because of this, he targets those with the potential for great impact. Many great leaders, prophets, and spiritual warriors have fallen because they underestimated the strength of this battle. The enemy uses lust as a constant snare, understanding that even the strongest warriors can be brought down by their own flesh. What starts as a small temptation can grow into a powerful force, weakening their resolve and hindering their calling. That's why it's vital to stay vigilant, recognizing that these attacks are meant to derail God's plan for your life. Number 4. Emotional wounds create open doors. Many chosen ones carry deep emotional wounds, rejection, abandonment, past heartbreaks, wounds that often go unhealed. These scars can become open doors for lust to enter. When someone is emotionally vulnerable, the enemy seizes the opportunity, offering lust as a false comfort, a counterfeit connection to fill the void left by pain. The desire for intimacy or validation can become twisted into a harmful coping mechanism, and without inner healing, lust can turn into a way to numb the hurt, creating a destructive cycle of sin and shame that's difficult to break. These emotional wounds become pathways for the enemy to exploit vulnerabilities, drawing people deeper into temptation. But the key to breaking this cycle, it's true healing, through God's love and grace. Only when we address these wounds and surrender them to God can we find freedom from the deceptive allure of lust. Number 5. Strong spiritual gifts come with a weak flesh. Many chosen ones are blessed with powerful spiritual gifts, but they are still human. And the flesh, it remains weak. Even the most anointed individuals face the battle of temptation. Without consistent spiritual discipline, prayer, fasting, and the renewal of the mind, the struggle against lust becomes much harder. The greater the anointing, the greater the need for self-control, because the enemy knows exactly how to exploit any weakness. If chosen ones are not actively strengthening their spirit, they become vulnerable to falling into patterns of lustful thoughts and actions. Spiritual gifts do not exempt anyone from the battles of the flesh, and without a solid foundation of spiritual practices, the fight becomes even more intense. Maintaining a strong connection with God through prayer, fasting, and the renewal of the mind is essential to overcoming lust and staying focused on the divine calling. Lust is a battle that many chosen ones face in secret, but victory is possible through spiritual discipline, accountability, and healing. Though the enemy's goal is to keep them trapped, God's power is always greater. With prayer, fasting, and support from others, they can overcome this struggle and continue walking in their divine purpose. The key is recognizing the battle for what it is, spiritual warfare, and choosing to fight with God's strength. The question is, will they stand firm, or will they fall into the trap? With God's help, victory is not only possible, it's promised.